In this video, we're going to take a look at some more options for table layout. So I have a table here, and we're going to look at the cell size options in this video. So we've got Autofit here to begin with. If we click on Autofit, we've got three choices. The first one is Autofit Contents, and that means it will make each column as wide as it needs to be to accommodate whatever is in that column. So we've got some 4-digit numbers down here at the bottom. Those are the widest, it looks like, and maybe the word total. And up here it looks like budget is going to be the widest one in the first column. So let's go do Autofit Contents, and that's what we get. Now if I do turn off the Show Hide button, let's go back to the Home tab here and let's turn that off. Those little symbols are missing from the edges now, and it doesn't look quite as cluttered as it did before. If you choose that, it's going to make the column widths as small as they can be and still accommodate the text that's in the table. Let's undo that one, and let's go back to our Layout tab here, and under Autofit, this time let's choose Autofit Window. And our window here goes from the 1-inch mark over here all the way over here to a 1-inch margin over on the right side, and it will fill it from margin to margin, and it is evenly distributing the columns for us. There's another option here called Fixed Column Width. So this means that Word won't automatically change the column widths when the table is moved or if I make other changes in it, but I can still change them if I want to. So basically you're saying, I want control over every column if you make that selection. So then we got some options for height and width, and right now it is on 1/10 of an inch. Let's select the entire table, and you can also just select individual rows that you want to modify, but we'll do the whole table. I'm going to increase this, and it goes in increments of 1/10 of an inch. Okay, so let's increase it to 1/2 an inch. The width of every column right now, it looks like it's 1.3. And I really can't go any wider without going into my margin here, which Word will let you do, but you probably don't want to do that. And so let's decrease it a couple of times so we got something that looks like this now. So each one of these is 1/2 an inch tall. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to decrease these. I'm going to go down to 4/10 of an inch and then 3/10, and watch what happens when I go to 2/10 of an inch. Not really much happens when I go to 2/10 of an inch. If I go to 1/10 of an inch, nothing happens either. But I've still got this extra space in there. Why isn't it making the rows shorter for me? And the reason is obvious when you come in here and you select some of the text that's in the table. So when I select this text for January, you notice there's a bunch of gray underneath it. And if we go back to our Home tab here, and if we click on, if we click on the Layout tab and look at the spacing before and after, we've got 6 points after, and that's what that extra gray space down here under January is. And if I decrease this to 0, actually let's increase it first, and if I do, that part has to remain in the table as well. So now I'm going to decrease it, and we'll go down to 0. Actually, let's go down to 0 for the entire row here. And now let's if we hit the up arrow there, it'll go to 0. And now you see this row is not nearly as tall as the other ones. If I go here to these other ones and I say I don't want any points above those, then they will shrink as well. So sometimes you may not be able to shrink it as much as you think you should be able to, and if that's what happens, there's a good chance that you've got some spacing before and after the text that's in those table cells. Let's go back to our Layout tab. So that takes care of height and width, and then we can distribute rows or columns evenly. And in order for that to work, let's try making this one really tall. So if I say distribute the rows evenly, then it will take from the very top row up here all the way to the bottom row down here, and it'll take that space. It will not get any taller, but it will divide the rows evenly relative to the height of the cell as it is right now. So let's click on Distribute Rows. That didn't work because I had some of the rows selected. I have to let's select the entire table and tell it to distribute rows, and now every row is exactly the same height. Same thing applies to columns. Let's go over here to the right edge, and we'll just make this one column a little bit wider, and I want them all to be the same width, so let's do distribute columns. And that's a fast, easy way to make everything in your table exactly the same height and exactly the same width. We will stop there, and we'll take a look at the alignment group in another video.